Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show, Disney gets a makeover, cosplayers get handy, and the Thundercats had a movie. Or did they? But as you know, here at Model Behaviour, action figures always come first, or sometimes not at all. So let's talk about them. First up, we're going to talk about Indiana Jones. With the new movie coming out next year, the whole new range of action figures from Hasbro, it's a good time to be an Indiana Jones fan, especially if you live near a Target. If you don't, then you're probably going to be out of luck if you want to get hold of the new exclusive Club Obi-Wan Indiana Jones figure. I sort of forgot that it was called Club Obi-Wan that he was at until I saw the name of the figure, and I was like, oh yeah, that was a nice little touch, a little nod and a wink to Star Wars. So yes, Indiana Jones decked out in his very snazzy white tuxedo. For the poison you already drank, Dr. Jones. I love that scene. That's Temple of Doom is probably not one of the greatest Indiana Jones movies, but I mean, there's only 4 of them to speak of so far. But that opening scene, that was money, baby. Kill the girl. We have what we want. Those aren't the words, but those are some great villains. But I digress. This figure looks fun. He's going to be a Target exclusive, though, which kind of sucks. Any kind of store exclusive sucks. It's like, people want to support your product. We want to give you money in exchange for what you make, and you make it difficult because you want a short-term benefit of getting a little chunk of money from big chain retailers, and you're kind of punishing the fans for that. And that's not good. Still, the figure looks good, so swings and roundabouts, I guess. Going on over now to something that I never really cover on this channel because not a big fan, but Funko Pops. So gang, there is a Funko Pop out there of a character from Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania that hasn't yet been officially revealed. So if you don't want to see anything from Quantumania, then skip on to the next chapter, okay? So alright, I'm going to give you a minute. You can just think about it, find the little part in the toolbar and go and skip. Boom. Alright, if you haven't done that yet, but you don't want to be spoiled, well, quite frankly, you should have been a little bit more nimble with your fingers, because I'm going to tell you about the MODOK Pop vinyl figure. I kind of forgot what it was called there for a second. You can see my brain working. So yeah, MODOK going to be one of the antagonists in Quantumania, and it looks like he's going to be very gold with a big old grin on his face. But it's so hard to equate what a Funko Pop looks like to actual reality. So you got to use some creativity to think like what he will actually appear as. But I know that we're getting MODOK in the MCU, and that's kind of fun. So it seems like, I suppose actually was. What? Because okay, this is where we're going to go for a little walk here. Apparently, I think that they're saying more spoilery news that MODOK is actually the villain from the first movie. Is someone cross? He was Yellow Jacket. I forget. He was a very forgettable villain. But at the end of the first movie, he gets kind of sucked into like the quantum realm, or basically his suit goes all kablooey. So yeah, does he become MODOK? And then I'm thinking, I was about to say, well, so if MODOK's in the quantum realm, it doesn't have like an AIM connection. But was he working for AIM? Like, was that the company? Was the company Advanced Idea of Mechanics in the first Ant-Man movie? I can't remember. It just means I gotta go watch Ant-Man again, which is no bad thing. I enjoyed that movie. So yeah, little Funko Pop of MODOK coming out. Check him out. In Marvel Legends news, we have another Pulse Stream thingamajig coming out tomorrow, December 6th. So tomorrow there's something to look forward to. Obviously going to be some more news, probably a reveal or two. You gotta love the Pulse streams. They always give you something to get hype about, and gives me something to do one of those quick rush, hot off the press type videos, and I love making those. So tune in tomorrow for, don't bother watching the Pulse stream. They rabbit on for ages about nothing, and quite frankly, I can't stand people who love the sound of their own voice too much. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, instead, just wait for it to finish, and come on over to Model Behaviour, and I'll tell you what they showed us. Just in time for Christmas, 4 Horsemen Studios have revealed their Santa Claus figure, basically. And I really like the look of this. I'm a big kid at Christmas. You know me. I dig the festive cheer. I love the holiday, and I was very tempted. But also I was like, you know what, Dave? You can't get everything you want. Or can you? Who's stopping you? Well, people demanding money for rent, food, you know, that kind of thing, I guess. They're what's stopping me. But I wish they wouldn't, because he looks really fun. So they have a few Christmas figures now. They've got 2 versions of Krampus, so I think this is their 3rd one. Stop me if there's any others that I'm forgetting. But yeah, he looks great. He's going to be $60. You can order directly from Four Horsemen Studios. Got 2 different heads, a whole bunch of Santa Claus type accessories. The more I talk about it, the more I really do like the idea of this guy. I would love... maybe I should try and get Krampus as well. Have like a whole Christmas action figure display. I could get it out every year. Oh man, you know what? I think I'm talking myself around to this. This is dangerous. This is why I shouldn't do this show, because it just reminds me about all the cool things that I want to spend money on. So yeah, that might be happening. A little something I don't normally talk about on this show is busts. Well, I talk about busts every now and then. But no, actual like minifigure busts. And in this case, Gentle Giant Studios have an interesting looking one. $130 for a Starkiller 1/6 scale bust. And this is based on concept art and ideas from the original Star Wars. So this is Starkiller as opposed to Skywalker, and a female version. And I just like that kind of Elseworlds alternate reality kind of idea of things, of like what we might have had if different creative decisions were made. So yeah, you can get a female version of this Starkiller character, who would then of course go on to become Luke Skywalker, and I think it looks super pretty. It's an interesting little curiosity. That's why I wanted to share it with you. What would the action figure industry be without repaints? Well, I tell you what, they'd have a lot fewer figures on the shelf, especially McFarlane, and they have done another Doomslayer, this time in bright, badass, bold red. I can't really say much more about it than that. It's another Doomslayer, same as you've seen before, but this time in red. Hey look, I'm not criticizing McFarlane. The nice thing about these kind of repaints is, get them if you want. If you don't, you're not losing out on anything. There's no Build-A-Figure pieces. There's no BS box sets or anything. If you like a red Doomslayer, which I can see the appeal of, because this is very mid-90s multiplayer. And that's kind of fun. That takes me back to the LAN parties that I used to have with my friends. Yeah, we were the cool kids in school. And you'd have the different colored Doomslayers running around, most of them just killing me because I sucked at Doom. Still, it's kind of fun. I'll always say with these McFarlane figures, a lot of them, man, just a wash, some dry brushing. Oh, that would make them look so much better, because the sculpts are always so good. They're really good. But then the paintwork just looks a bit plain and plastic. Just a little wash on there would make a big difference. Bring out the shades, the shadows, all that cool stuff. Think about it, Todd. If you want some more advice about action figures, feel free to email me. You know, my door's always open, Todd. I think, you know, if I can offer you some help and advice, help you get your career off the ground a little bit, you know, I'd be happy to do it. That's what Displaying Model Behaviour is all about. So this figure is exclusive to the McFarlane store website. He's going to be $22.99 and going to be available in February of next year. Super 7 are doing some more Thundercats figures, this time troop builders. So this is kind of cool and really sort of expanding the line. Now they're not just doing the big tentpole franchise type characters. Now you can full on army build these things. And like, honestly, I mean, they're hella expensive for action figures. They're $55. But I'm not saying they're overpriced, because what you get is very, very nice. I'm just saying, like, man, if you have like a full Thundercats collection with army builders as well, that's a hell of an expensive collection, but more power to you. You're spending your money wisely, no doubt about that. So these 3 reptilians come in 3 different flavors. You've got the Brute, you got the Warrior, and you got the Guard. These are all going to be available Q3 next year. And like, again, Thundercats is one of those treat yourself type lines that I never got into, because if I bought myself a Lion-O, you know, the snowball would just start rolling and I'd be like, now I'm troop building reptilians. Didn't think I could afford to do that. Turns out I can't, but here we are. 3-0 are giving us a Marvel DLX 1/12 scale Iron Man. So if you like mixing up your different lines of figures to get like the quintessential versions, this dude, he might be finding his way onto your shelf. So this is Iron Man 3. This is the Mark 42 armor from Iron Man 3, which I was never really a big fan of it. The sort of the yellowy, goldy, I call it a Caramac color. Do you have Caramac in the US? It's a sort of a chocolatey caramel kind of bar, but that's what he looked like to me. Too much of that color. Was never a fan of that armor. But still, if you do like the look of it, then you can pick him up for $99 in Q3 of next year. I think it's going to be. So if you're collecting the MCU line in Marvel Legends, you want to put in a slightly more high-end looking Iron Man, then you can do that. Because yeah, even though I'm not a fan of the style of the design, my goodness, the actual mechanics of this action figure and the details in it, mwah, beautiful. So yeah, your mileage is going to vary depending on how big you want your Hall of Armor to be, or how small you want your bank balance to be. Now, you all know me. I've been getting a lot into Elden Ring. Been playing that pretty obsessively recently. Social life might have been suffering a little bit, now that I think about it. But I'm loving these Souls-type games. So therefore, Souls-type action figures, yeah, that's kind of piquing my interest. And we now have a Demon Souls Figma Fluted Armor figure by the Good Smile Company. And looks kind of pretty. I dig it. There's not too much more to say about it because I'm showing you the lovely pictures. And I can also tell you that he's going to be released in Japan first because that's where they're made, the Good Smile Company. And it's going to be released for 15,800 yen, which equates to about $116. So they're going to be coming out around about March of 2024. So you've got a fair old time to wait for them. But yeah, little bit of Demon Souls type action figure. I think that looks kind of cool. Throw them in with your Mythic Legions or other type of medieval sort of display. That could be kind of funky. So this figure is being produced in Japan, so it's going to be a little while before he comes out in the US. Most likely we're seeing March of 2024. And he's going to be retailing for about $145 US. Sticking now with the import figures, Tamashii Nations are giving us some more Godzilla goodness. They are giving us Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, Soul of Chogokin, Type 3 Kiryu. Those were a lot of words. I'm sure they made sense to somebody. You could tell I was just reading them off there. Basically, whenever I do a full screen image and you can't see me, that's because I'm reading something verbatim off the internet. That's a little behind the music information about this channel. If my face isn't on the screen, it's because I'm using a cheat sheet. So this is a Japanese release which is going to be going for 35,200 yen, which will equate to about $258 US, and this is apparently going to be released around about May of next year. McFarlane have shown off the latest entry into their Dragons subline. Is it a subline? It's just a line, isn't it? It's not a subline of anything. Let's take a little look at the pretty pictures though. So, this is the McFarlane Dragons Series 8 Sybaris Berserker Clan Dragon statue. It's actually kind of fun and fair that they're calling it. It's a statue. It's not an action figure. We're not putting like one point of articulation on the head and going, yeah, it's an action figure. No. This is a statue. This is a pretty statue though, because also you got to appreciate like high-end statues like are crazy expensive. So to get a statue for about $40, that's not too shabby. And that's what this costs, $39.99 to be exact. Going to be released around about February of next year. And yeah, if you like your dragons and your mythical creatures, I mean, boom, an affordable $40 statue. That looks kind of nice. And sticking with McFarlane, they have full image reveals of their Shazam, what is it, Fury of the Gods? Is that what it's called? Yes, Fury of the Gods, the sequel movie action figure. And it looks like what you would expect, I gotta say. Throughout this year, this has been the year of me being more and more impressed with McFarlane action figures. Because each one just feels more unique, like more work has gone into it. And this looks really good. This just looks like the dude from the movie. That's what movie action figures should do. So yeah, I don't have a release date yet for him, but we got the pretty pictures, and honestly, come on. That's why you come here anyway, isn't it? It's not for the facts, it's just to see what's going to be out there. And this guy, at some point, he's going to be out there. And finally, for action figures, Jada Toys have shown some new reveals of their Street Fighter and Mega Man figures. The Street Fighter ones in particular, I'm quite excited about. This might be a new line I start picking up. I don't know, but we are going to get a Ken Masters. We're going to get an M. Bison, which is a big... Oh, I love M. Bison. I love a good villain. And we're going to be getting Dalsim as well. So it seems like they're really building out that classic core Super Street Fighter edition roster. If they can just do all 16 characters, then that's awesome. You know, no, the problem that Storm Collectibles had was they keep like doing like a random figure from like Street Fighter 4 or something, and just all over the place. Just give us the classic 16. That would be awesome. If Jada Toys do that, I might be on board. So also we've got the Mega Man reveals as well. And for Mega Man, they're going to be doing Hyper Bomb Mega Man. They're going to be doing Cut Man. And they're going to be doing Elec Man. Now, I like Mega Man as like an iconic franchise, but I'm not that like hot on all the different characters and stuff. But I'm sure that there are folks out there who are. And this one, they look really fun. So Jada Toys, I think this could be a company to watch in the new year. Going over to movies now, and oh my goodness, so many trailers. Just trailers for everything. First up, Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. Terrible name, but is the movie going to be good? Well, we don't know yet. We've only seen the trailer, and I gotta say, I don't like the look of the trailer. And you know me, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I want to say good things. I love the Indiana Jones franchise. But just what pained me to look at the trailer is everything is CGI. Just everything. I mean, if you're doing like a crazy action scene, like I can dig that. But it looked like even just someone walking down a corridor looks like CGI. The whole thing looks like one of those creepy Robert Zemeckis movies from the early 2000s, like Polar Express or Beowulf, where it's all just uncanny valley and you're like, am I watching anything that's actually there? Everyone just seems to have this artificial CGI look to them. It's fine when you're doing a de-aged Harrison Ford, which actually I gotta say, in that split-second reveal, did look cool. I'd be happy to see that. But it just pains me, man. I miss the reason why Raiders of the Lost Ark is so good is that everything you're seeing is real. Still, one of my favorite action scenes of any movie of all time is the truck chase in Raiders, because that's real stuntmen risking their real bodies to do incredible things. And you know what? That truck scene nowadays, it's just trucks and cars driving on a road. Like nowadays, that would be, you know, explosions and flips and cars going over each other and double barrel rolls because they're like, well, we can do it on a computer, so why not? Because actually it's too much. All what Indiana Jones does in that scene is like, you know, climb on top of a truck, jump into the, you know, driver's seat, get, you know, thrown over the grill. Like, it's not crazy spectacular, but because it's real, it's absolutely incredible. And that's something we're just not going to see anymore. So it's like, it just feels like an artificial movie, and that kind of makes me sad. One thing I will say is good though. I like the idea that it's going to be time travel based, like they're going back to the 1930s, 1940s, because it makes sense, because now Indiana Jones is going to be like in the 1970s almost. I think it's like 1969, 1970 is like when the movie is set, and then they go back in time. Because you think about it, like, that's almost the time of like Taxi Driver, like Robert De Niro, like having Indiana Jones in, like, it doesn't fit. That's not what Indiana Jones is. He's a pulp action character. So going back in time, especially with Mads Mikkelsen as the villain or a villain, like that's going to be cool. I'm down for that. So hopefully there'll be enough elements in there of awesomeness that I'll be able to get into it, despite it being it feels very CGI-ish, which is such a shame. But that notwithstanding, I'm still going to be there opening day because it's Indiana Jones. It just baffles me that Harrison Ford seems to keep getting injured on his film sets, like breaking his leg in Star Wars, hurting himself in Indiana Jones. I'm like, how? Everything's CGI. What are you hurting yourself on? It's just green beanbags that you're surrounded by. But bless his heart. I mean, gotta love Harrison Ford. So it'd be great to see him don the fedora one more time. Hopefully, it's going to be a good send-off. Then we had the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer, and this kind of got me. I think this might be very, very emotional. This is going to be a send-off. You know that this is going to be the crescendo. I mean, it's not just the send-off to the Guardians, but it's the send-off to James Gunn as well, because now he's over in DC trying to salvage the dumpster fire that is the DCEU. So, you know, God bless him, more power to you. And this looks like it is going to be that big emotional culmination, and I'm here for it. I haven't seen the holiday special yet. Really looking forward to that. So now I think that, like, they haven't gone wrong. Guardians, I think, is one of the most consistent Marvel movie series, and I've got no doubt they're going to be able to tie a great bow on it and just wrap up all these different character arcs. I cannot wait to see this. I bet it's going to hit me in the feels, especially with characters like Rocket, who are, you know, really animals, and it's like, humans, I can be like, that's a bit schmaltzy. Animals though, no, I'll be blubbing like a baby. So yeah, that's one that I'm really holding out for. And again, it's funny, I know I was just bashing Indiana Jones for being too CGI-ish, and of course this is going to be ultra CGI, but it's a space adventuring galaxy movie. Of course it's CGI, so that I'm okay with that. Not even double standards, I don't think. Regardless though, I love the look of this. Here's hoping it's going to be a good send-off. Then we got Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and I gotta say, again, positivity here. Again, everything's CGI, but again, it's because it's the Transformers. Of course it is. And look, by now that we've had the Bumblebee movie, and this is kind of a continuation of that, it feels like we've almost completely washed off the Michael Bay stink. And that's so good, because that original series of movies, I cannot bear to watch it. Disgusting, gross, misogynistic, immature, childish garbage. And now we've actually got some movies that actually seem to kind of live up to the idea of Transformers. And I really hope so, because quite frankly, Peter Cullen deserves better. So I hope that he's got some great Optimus Prime roles and lines now to make up for just the awful things that were done to that character by the Michael Bay movies. So yeah, Rise of the Beasts, Beast Wars, basically. I'm down to clown with this. As long as there are no jokes about, you know, urination and masturbation and all these other things that Michael Bay seemed to think was hilarious in a Transformers movie. Jeez Louise. Then this should be good. So fingers crossed, this is another one that I'm really looking forward to. Amazon Prime have shown a trailer for Gen V. This is a The Boys spin-off show, which is going to be set in a campus, like a university for superpowered people. And it looks like more of The Boys style entertainment. So if you like The Boys, that's more of that. But also, I mean, I enjoy The Boys. I got a real kick out of that show, really enjoy it. But also there's always a problem with oversaturation. You know, I feel like I've had enough boys, and I'm looking forward. That sounds weird. But enough about my weekend. I've had enough boys, but time for something else. But that does feel like it. I'm looking forward to the next series of The Boys. Do I need something to keep me ticking over in the interim? I don't know. But look, each series is going to stand on its own if it's written and done well enough. So hopefully that's going to be the case. I'll certainly give it a try and see what we make of it. Coming out some point next year. No date given yet. And then we have the Last of Us trailer. The new Last of Us trailer. It just looks like they've taken the game and just made a TV show out of it. I mean, obviously that's what they did, but it doesn't look like they've actually veered away too much from the story. They're like, no, this story is fantastic. Just do the story, which I'm more than all right with. I wasn't a big fan of the casting of the two leads initially. I really wasn't. I'm not a huge Pedro Pascal fan. I like him, but I just didn't think he was great for the Joel role. But having seen this trailer now, you know what? He's winning me over. I think he's going to be killer. And don't get me wrong, again, I think he's a fantastic actor. I just didn't see him in that role. But you know what? He's going to kill it. He really is. And now, of course, we're getting more reveals of the Clickers and the Shamblers. We get the big monster reveal at the end. Cannot wait. Bring it on. January whenever it is. Sometime in January when it comes out. I'm going to be there. Words fail me. Terrible YouTuber. Then we just got a little reveal teaser poster for the Blue Beetle movie coming out. This is one that's kind of sort of a left field kind of character. I feel like this is kind of DC's version of Guardians of the Galaxy, where your average Joe on the street is like, oh, it's a DC movie. Which character is it? Batman, Superman? They're like, it's Blue Beetle. Who? Which is fine, because that means that there are no real audience expectations. Therefore, you can be really surprised. So I'm really interested in this, because I don't know anything about the character really. Besides, he's got like a bit of a Guyver kind of gimmick, where it's like the suit gives him powers, alien thing. Is that the case? I don't know. I'm interested to go to the cinema and find out. And this poster looks kind of cool. Just a quick little comic book tidbit. I saw a preview for Thor 29, and in there they speak of a black Infinity Gem. I just thought that's kind of cool. The Infinity Gems have been such a staple of Marvel lore for so long now that introducing a new gem that does different things and maybe changes the whole way that we see them and they're used in the Marvel universe, that's kind of interesting. So what is the Black Infinity Gem? What does it do? How does it expand to the lore and all that kind of thing? I don't know. But we're going to be finding out in Thor 29, or at least we're going to be introduced to it, along with, I think, subplots involving Valkyrie and her relationships and all that kind of thing. I think Thor has been getting my attention a bit more recently. I read the recent crossover with the Hulk comics. That was a lot of fun. I've never been a big mystical gods type Marvel fan, but you know what? Next year, that could be the year I get into Thor. Over in video game news now, the Callisto Protocol has been released, and this is one that I was watching very closely, because I'm a big horror movie fan. Plus, deep space horror? Yeah, yes please, absolutely. And this looks like a spiritual successor to Dead Space, which was one of my favorites. So the reviews are in, and they're middle of the road, which is a little bit of a shame, but it seems like the biggest kind of complaint is that for a survival horror game, you don't have to survive too much. You're a little bit overpowered, and that drops the tension down. And that's often a problem with these games. They go a bit too much to the action side of things, and if you're too beefed up with ammo and weapons and all that kind of stuff, you lose that terror and dread. So it seems like the game looks beautiful. Looks absolutely, I mean, beautiful in a horrific kind of way, which is what you want. But they just didn't quite get the level of drama and suspense with the Action Jackson kind of side of things, which maybe with some like downloadable tweaks and stuff could solve that. And also they said it's very self-contained. Whereas so many games at the moment are made as like games for services and you play them online and there's expansions and stuff. This seems to be very much a boom, one and done, little concise adventure there, which sometimes is what you need. Because I don't need another Elden Ring in my life, sucking more and more hours out of productivity. So yeah, it seems like this isn't quite the game that people were hoping for, but it seems like a nice thing to tide you over until the Dead Space remake comes out. I had to click my fingers to jolt my brain to access the name Dead Space. That Dead Space remake is going to come out hopefully at the start of next year. So if you can't wait for your deep space horror, you can grab some Callisto Protocol. For me, I think I might just hold out for Dead Space. A little interesting tidbit I wanted to throw in because I love my theme parks. Gonna be working at one pretty soon. So, over in Disney World, they are now officially closing Splash Mountain, and it is going to be remade, given a complete overhaul and remake as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which has a tentative opening date of sometime in 2024. And this is just really great to see, because Splash Mountain, I mean, it's one of the most iconic Disney rides. I mean, right up there with Space Mountain. They do love their mountains. But of course, it is based on Songs of the South, which is problematic. Which again, I'm not getting on some big high horse or anything. Like, but it just is. It was made in a different time, a different era, and it doesn't really sort of sync up with the world as it is now. And also, I mean, what kids are actually familiar with Songs of the South? Like, no one. Whereas Tiana, Princess and the Frog, that's a big franchise that deserves a ride all to itself. So I'm really happy to see that, and hopefully maybe in sometime in 2024 I might be able to get over to America and go ride on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That's a little one for the bucket list. Over in Cosplay Corner, I want to give a big shout out to Gracie the Cosplay Lass. Not that she really needs it, she seems to be doing alright as far as followers go, but there's a reason for that. Just look at the stuff that she puts together. This is some high-end cosplay business that we're talking about. Especially the one that caught my eye was someone shared her Spiral cosplay. And holy potatoes, that's awesome. This is a good time to be a Spiral fan with the fantastic Marvel Legends just come out, and now cosplayers rocking the house like this. So a huge big shout out to Gracie the Cosplay Lass. Clearly the amount of time, work, skill, effort, everything that goes into these, it pays off with some badass looking cosplays. And finally, did you know that the Thundercats originally was a movie, a live-action movie made in 1985 that was completed but never released? And then studio executives were like, you know what, this doesn't really work as a movie. Let's make it a cartoon show instead. And if you didn't know that, that's because it didn't happen. That was a lie. but it was an entertaining lie. And isn't that the real truth? The answer is no. But it is scary what AI art can do. Yes, all of these images of the 1980s Thundercats movie are completely just fabricated out of AI artwork that apparently was stolen and pinched. I don't know how AI works. I just don't. But apparently, like, it does take artwork that other people have created and it mashes it together and repurposes it, and apparently it's shady and people don't like it. So more on that when I learn about it. But in the meantime, it is fun to look at what it can do, because these pictures would have fooled me. This totally looks like a Thundercats movie made in the 80s, and I dig it. I love this kind of just a fascinating looking curiosity. So yeah, if you want to go and check out these pictures, I want to credit someone for them, but I just saw these on Facebook, and like there's no name to credit, which seems appropriate since the whole point, the problem people have with AI artwork is that it's based on stolen stuff. So there you go. Take that, AI. I'm not crediting you for these pictures, but I wanted to show them because I think they look pretty fun. Apparently you can kind of spot that it's AI if you look at little telltale signs like characters having too many fingers and stuff, because apparently AI can get confused with different elements of human beings, and fingers is one. So if you see people with one too many fingers or something, that's how you can be like, yeah, that's clearly AI that's done that. Spooky what it can recreate though. And also when I was looking at the pictures, I was like, some of these special effects look a little bit too good for 1985, but still that kind of slightly grubby, grimy, sort of washed out mid-80s look, like, dude, it's captured it. It really is. Looks totally like Krull or Hawk the Slayer or something similar. So yeah, I thought that was wicked. Wanted to share it with you. And that does it for Good News for today, gang. What did you think about the stories covered? Comment below, let me know. And of course, as I've said before, I'm also still taking submissions for your videos for Action Figure of the Year. So if you want to send me a little 30-second video to the email address below telling me what your action figure of 2022 is, that would be awesome. I'll put all of those videos into the Christmas special. And if you could film it in landscape, double thumbs up. So yeah, thank you so much for all of you. I've had a whole bunch of really good contributions already. So guys, thank you so much for submitting. Cannot wait to put these all together. So gang, thank you so much for watching. Also over on the Patreon, I'm trying to get back into the regular upload. So there's going to be a new episode of the Spider-Man Rewind, the animated series, coming up this week as well. Plus, going to be doing some more live call-in shows for channel members and Patreon subscribers as well. When I do the live streams, you can call in, we can have a chat live on the air. That'll be great fun as well. So 2023 is when I'm going to start giving back to the Patreon, because thank you guys. You've given me so much. It's about dang time I actually give you something in return. So gang, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Coffee,